Do you think that Michael Jordan would be as successful without you?
No.
When Michael Jordan was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2009, the first person he acknowledged and thanked was Scottie Pippen.
In all the videos, you never just saw me. You saw Scottie Pippen. Every championship I won.
Making it clear that he understood the importance of his longtime teammate. Their connection was undeniable, denying every rumor of their fight and feud. The following year, when Pippen received his own Hall of Fame induction, it was Jordan who had the honor of presenting him. The moment was a full-circle tribute to one of the most dominant duos in NBA history. For decades, their relationship seemed solid. While Jordan was known for his intense leadership, often pushing his teammates to the limit, even getting into physical altercations like the infamous punch he threw at Steve Kerr, Pippen was viewed as a more even-keeled, supportive presence. He was the perfect complementary star, capable of handling both ends of the court and making life easier for Jordan. But everything changed in 2020. As the world came to a standstill due to the COVID-19 pandemic, basketball fans were desperate for something to watch. Then, Netflix delivered The Last Dance, a 10-part documentary chronicling the Chicago Bulls' 1997-98 season, Jordan's final run with the team. The project was met with excitement as it promised behind-the-scenes footage that had never been seen before. However, as the episodes aired, it became clear that The Last Dance wasn't just a basketball documentary. It was a carefully crafted story designed to reinforce the legend of Michael Jordan. Since director Jason Hehere needed Jordan's approval to make the documentary, MJ had significant control over how events and people were portrayed. Naturally, the focus was overwhelmingly on Jordan, often at the expense of his teammates. Despite the Bulls being one of the greatest teams in NBA history, the documentary framed the dynasty through the lens of Jordan's individual greatness. Key players like Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and Tony Kukoc were given secondary roles in the narrative, making them feel more like supporting characters in The Michael Jordan Show. Some of the documentary's most glaring omissions and misrepresentations included Steve Kerr, one of the greatest three-point shooters in history, was barely acknowledged beyond his game-winning shot in the 1997 finals. Horace Grant, a four-time all-defensive team member and crucial part of the first three-peat, was largely overlooked. Tony Kukoc, one of the most skilled European players of his era, was given little credit for his role in the second three-peat. Ron Harper, a defensive stopper who played a critical role in the Bulls' backcourt, was barely mentioned. Luke Longley, the team's starting center, was completely omitted. Even Longley himself was surprised by the snub. Dennis Rodman was given plenty of screen time, but more for his off-court antics than his dominance as the greatest rebounder in NBA history. However, the person most affected by The Last Dance was Scottie Pippen. One of the most controversial moments in the documentary was how it depicted Pippen's decision to delay surgery on his injured ankle at the start of the 1997-98 season. "I had a ruptured tendon in my ankle, and I chose to have surgery late because I wasn't going to ruin my summer rehabbing," Pippen explained. The move was framed as selfish, with Jordan openly criticizing him in the documentary. What the documentary failed to highlight, however, was the context. At the time, Jordan was making $33 million, while Pippen was earning just $2.7 million, despite being an all-star and arguably a top-5 player in the league. Pippen had been severely underpaid for years because of a long-term contract he had signed early in his career to provide financial security for his family. Bulls management refused to renegotiate his deal despite his clear value to the team. Pippen's decision to delay surgery was, in part, a protest against the front office's refusal to pay him what he was worth. Though the documentary briefly touched on Pippen's difficult road to the NBA, His impact on the Bulls' dynasty was quickly overshadowed by Jordan's story. Still, despite his frustrations, Pippen initially downplayed any tension. In May 2020, after The Last Dance aired, Jordan reached out to Pippen with a rare text. "What's up, dude? Hearing you're upset with me. Let's talk if you have time." Pippen called Jordan back and expressed his disappointment in how the Bulls were portrayed. Publicly, however, he kept things cordial, saying, "This documentary hasn't changed our relationship. We'll always be friends." But this statement quickly unraveled. By 2021, Pippen began making a series of increasingly critical statements about Jordan while promoting his book, Unguarded. He accused Jordan of bribing Bulls staff to cheat him out of $100 bets on in-game Jumbotron races. He called Jordan's decision to leave basketball for baseball a selfish move, implying that he spent too much time grieving his father's death. He dismissed Jordan's legendary flu game, arguing that his own performance in the 1998 finals with a herniated disc was just as heroic, yet received little recognition. He completely flipped his stance on the LeBron versus Jordan debate, stating, "I'd go as far as to say Mike ruined basketball. Back in the 80s, teams played together, passing and moving the ball. That stopped in the 90s. Kids wanted to be like Mike, but Mike didn't want to pass, rebound, or defend the best player. He wanted everything done for him. That's why I've always believed LeBron James is the greatest player of all time. He does everything and embodies what basketball is about." Pippen's book also attacked The Last Dance, stating that every episode put Jordan on a pedestal while treating everyone else as his supporting cast. He was also furious that Jordan was paid $10 million for the documentary, while the rest of the Bulls received nothing. Pippen didn't stop there. During an interview with Dan Patrick, he made headlines by accusing Phil Jackson of racism for choosing Tony Kukoc over him for the final shot in a 1994 playoff game. Even former teammates weren't safe. He took shots at Charles Barkley, calling him undedicated and lacking the will to win. Isaiah Thomas, labeling him a dirty player. Despite Pippen's verbal attacks, Jordan remained silent, refusing to engage in a public feud. But if their relationship wasn't already fractured beyond repair, things got even worse in 2022 when Jordan's son, Marcus Jordan, started dating Pippen's ex-wife, Larsa Pippen. For Scottie, it seemed like no matter where he turned, Jordan was still looming over his life. Now, their friendship is all but non-existent. What was once an unbreakable partnership has been replaced by resentment, bitterness, and burned bridges. And given how deep the wounds run, it doesn't seem like Pippen's anger toward Jordan is fading anytime soon.